Yo, what's up guys, Sensus here, and today we're going to be looking at some of the new rogue talents on the WoD beta. Now keep in mind as you watch this, everything is subject to change and things are probably going to change before the expansion actually comes out. You might see talents in this video that aren't in the actual release, so just keep that in mind. And also, the damage is pretty crazy on the beta right now. Things are definitely not anywhere near balanced, and that goes for both damage and healing. And that's pretty much everything I want to make clear before we got started, so with that, let's get started. Okay, starting off with Internal Bleeding. This is a passive ability, and what it does is it will cause your kidney shot to also cause your target to bleed for 6,036 damage per comm point over 12 seconds. Now, as I mentioned before, these numbers are pretty much most definitely going to change, so just keep that in mind as you look over the numbers here. Now, in my opinion, the biggest downside to actually getting this talent is that as things sit right now, it's replacing Paralytic Poison. And honestly, I can only see this talent being useful as Assassination spec, unless for some reason they turned Subtlety into a bleed oriented spec, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. Okay, moving on to the level 100 talents. The first one we're going to look at is called Venom Zest. It's a passive talent, and what it does is it increases your maximum energy by 15, and it also increases your energy regeneration by 5% for every enemy you have poisoned, and it stacks up to 3. Now, this talent could be useful for pretty much every spec, but I can only see it really being extremely useful as Assassination, since Shadow Reflection really seems like the way to go for Subtlety at the moment. But you could definitely play around with both and see what feels more comfortable. Next up, we have Shadow Reflection. It has a 20-yard range, an instant cast time, and a 2-minute cooldown. And what it essentially does is it summons a clone of yourself and memorizes your offensive abilities for 8 seconds, after which it will mimic those memorized abilities. Now, this talent really seems like the one that people are going to pick up for the most part for Subtlety and combat specs, just because of the fact it seems to have a ton of offensive capability, and with the way both Venom Zest and Death from Above sit right now, it doesn't really seem like either of them are really going to be the #1 choice for Subtlety and combat rogues. But of course, it's still beta and things can change, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. And finally, the last new talent we're going to look at is called Death from Above. It costs 50 energy, has a 15-yard range, an instant cast time, and a 20-second cooldown. And what makes this one really unique, it actually has a 2-part attack. The first part is an AoE and does damage to all enemies within 8 yards. And the second part causes you to leap into the air, and on the way back down, you use Eviscerate on your target. And it's actually an enhanced version of Eviscerate. You do 50% more damage than you normally would with regular Eviscerate. So I guess the easiest way to explain it would be to say it's kind of like an enhanced version of Phantom Knives and Eviscerate combined into one ability. Animation wise, it's definitely the coolest ability that we got. So the main thing I'm hoping is that it will be viable to use either Shadow Reflection or Death from Above, just because the animation for Death from Above looks so awesome. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Shadow Reflection is going to be the optimal choice come launch? Let me know, and as always, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you next time.